Okay, then I will start with an introduction, right? Today I'm not here as a teacher. I'm not here to talk about any classes. I'm only here to talk about, many, you have many questions regarding the challenges that you're going to face in the future because you all have just finished the O levels and now moving on to A levels. So obviously, most of y'all in your family, you might not have had any people who have gone into medical school, or you might not have had any doctors in your family or in your relatives. So you have no idea about what you need to do in this journey. Plus, you might have also, just you like the subject biology, you like physics, you like chemistry. That is the reason you are doing it. But there is nobody to guide you in a proper manner, like what is there in your future, how you should overcome these problems that you will face in these 2.5 years. So that was the main reason I was going to do this session. So we will obviously start with y'all. If you have any questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it into a message on Zoom, right? So each of y'all would have multiple questions regarding this A levels. If each question is unique, I would answer it. So I will try my best to answer all of the questions. Okay. So you can start asking me any problems that you might have in your, have any issues that you might have regarding A-level biology or physics or chemistry, all three subjects. You can put it in the message. Okay. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Right. We have the first question. What is the path that you have in your future? Right. Okay. So in your A levels, so your 2028 A levels, no? So right now it's 2026 March, right? 2026 March. So for the next 2 years, all the way up to 2026, 2028, sorry, 2028 August, right? 2028 August, you have your A level period. So that is around 2 years and March to August, 3 and 8, 5 months. So you have 2 years and 5 months. 2 years and 5 months. So in these 2 years and 5 months only, you will have to cover all three subjects. You have the biology, physics, and chemistry. So in these 2 years and 5 months, you will have to cover all three subjects. So once you finish your A levels in 2028 August, so here you would write the exam. It would start from around middle August or beginning of August till the end of August. So once you're done with the exam, from 2028 August, you will have to wait until your results come. So your
Huh?
So you have to wait until your results come. So your results would come around 2029 January, I would assume, right? So 2029 January. So you would get your results by around 2029 January. So then after you get your results also, you don't directly go into university. You have to wait. You have to wait. Eventually, maybe by 2029 August, means from 1 year since you wrote your A-level exam, by 2029 August, you will be making it into a university. So if you're, most of you want to do this to become a doctor, no? So then by the time you enter medical faculty, it would be 2029 August. So this is the path that you have taken. Right, you can go one step further also. Right, one step further in this manner. After university, or what do you have in university? So in university, you will have another 5 years. In university, you have 5 or 5.5 actually, not 5 years. 5 years and 6 months. So 5 years and 6 months, right? So 5 years and 6 months you'll be in university. So that's 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034 August, 2036. By the time you do your final exam, it will be 2036. So right now you are in 2026. So you can expect to become a doctor in 10 years. Okay. So most people anyway most people actually stop here. They stop with becoming a doctor, but actually there is a completely new path after this. Totally different path to become like the head doctor. If you have a ward, you have multiple doctors. No? So in that multiple doctors, if you want to be like a head doctor or if you want to be a surgeon, then you have another approximately 6-7 years more, right? Approximately 6 to 7 years more. If you pass all your exams in the first try, you would eventually become a head doctor by 2042. Right. So then as you can see, this is not something like a get rich quick scheme. You don't, finish your A levels and finish your degree in 2 years and start getting a job. You actually get your first job when you're here in 2036. You start making like some people might consider good money by the time you become this, right? So by the good money as in government salary where people are, okay with it. So that would be by this time. So obviously you see most of you all, I would assume up to 2008 born. When were you all born? 2008, 2009, maybe around 2009. So that's what, 33 years. By the time you all are 33 years, yeah, 2009. So until you're 33 years old, you have studying to do, right? So again, like I'm telling you, this is not something that you can do it very quickly. It is a long path. A level is just the beginning. O level is a stepping stone. A level is the first step. But it doesn't stop with A levels. We have so much more left if you are going to do this biology stream seriously or with passion. Okay. So you can study till 33. But it doesn't stop there also, because once you become a surgeon doesn't mean, or once you become a head doctor doesn't mean you know everything. So even those people continue studying every day. So this entire path that you have left is continuously learning every single day. So if you have a passion for learning, then this is the correct path that you can choose. Okay. Right. So then that is the first question. Right. Does A level depend on school? I mean, should we select the best school and attend and depend on school? I also want a clarification about Z scores and universities. Okay. So we will start with the first question. Does the O level, A level depend on schools? Right? So my school was St. Thomas's. And I did my A levels in 2021. So all of you all probably know what happened in the 2020 to 2022. So we had Corona, right? So technically I did have a school, but the issue was, since it was during Corona, we couldn't go to school physically. There was no going to school physically. They had online classes. Like the school started online classes, like just like how you would have in a real school with morning biology, physics, chemistry, like that. They had a timetable with Zoom sessions. Okay. Then at that time, I didn't attend a single online class. I didn't have many practical exposure also, like in physics and chemistry, you have practicals, but the most important practicals would be in for physics. Chemistry practicals, they don't ask much questions. Biology practicals also not much, but physics practical, the entire structured essay paper is a practical paper. So I didn't get to do that many practicals because school was closed due to Corona. Maybe once in a while they asked us to come. By that time also, most people don't go due to this fear of Corona, right? So during that time, entirely it was online school. Entirely online school. I did not have any term exam experience much because I think we only had maximum of like 5 or 4 exams. You're supposed to have 6, no? I had maybe around 4 exams. Okay. So in 2021, it was online school. And I already went for classes. So at that point, why did I go for school? Like, no need to go for school and for classes. So online, I did not go to school. Technically, I was part of St. Thomas's, but I did not go to school because it was online. I did go to classes. So in the classes, they continuously taught. Even then, they didn't have exams. Right? There was no exams, only just teaching. So I had to do past papers by myself. And eventually, like, I got 3 A's. Eventually, I got 3 A's. So if you ask my personal opinion, I would say whether you go to a school or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is you, whether you are willing to work. School, the only advantage that you can have if you don't go to school would be, now school is going from starting from 8 o'clock all the way to 2 o'clock. So from 8 to 2, you can't study, you can't self-study. So the teacher might be good, the teacher might be bad. So let's say you have 3 subjects. No? Out of that, let's say the physics subject. Physics subject, the teacher is bad. So on that day, if you have triple period physics, you would have to just sit and wait. Listen to him even though you don't understand. But you can't study your own things. That's why school has a bit of a disadvantage. Private, on the other hand, that means not going to school, only going for classes. The advantage is the entire mornings are free, right? Maybe that is the reason why I was able to get 3 A's. So many of you would not have known. From 2019 until the beginning, March of 2020, I did not study A-level biology or physics or chemistry. I was only playing cricket. I wanted to become a cricketer and play for Sri Lanka. That is the story. But the main reason I went to this school, if there are any boys here, they would know, right? The main reason I went to this school is because to play cricket. So I only had like 1.5 years to prepare for this A level. So in that 1.5 years, I would completely contribute the fact that I was able to get 3 A's because I did not go to school. Because if there was school from 8 to 2 in the morning, that is what, how many hours? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's around 7 hours. 7 hours I wouldn't have studied. I would have just went to school, talked with other people, not used my time properly. But because I did not go to school, I started studying completely throughout the month. So that is an advantage I had. Disadvantage of not going to school would have been, if you're doing any extracurricular activities, if you want to, join a sport, you can't do that by going to tuition classes, because tuition classes, they only teach. They don't talk about, interact club or rotaract club or cricket or football, nothing like that. Okay, so I see so many people have science societies and all of that, but that cannot be expected if you're going to tuition classes. It's only studies. If you have friends and, other cousins and stuff like that close to your home who take part in these activities, then it's okay. If not, you will feel isolated. If you don't go to school, you will feel isolated. That is an advantage of going to school because you will have a sense of friendship and socialness and competitiveness among your classmates. Plus, what else? Like I mentioned, extracurricular activities. So that is the main advantage of going to school. While the main advantage of doing it privately is because you have your entire mornings to yourself. Practicals, that's another important thing. If you go to a good school, like Royal College or these big ladies schools, they do all the practicals. They have all the equipment, they will do all the practicals. But the thing is, in A-level physics, they do not ask you to do the practicals in the exam. No, this is a writing exam. No, there is no practical exam. Based on the practical that you did in school, they will ask you to write a paper. So you don't technically have to know how to do the practical. If you watch a video or if you see somebody explaining clearly how to do the practical, that is enough to get marks. So most of the people argue to go to school because you get to do practicals. But you never have to do practicals in the A-level exam. You just have to write down how a practical is done. So for that, you don't need to even do a practical. You can just watch a video. You can see somebody else explaining how to do a practical. So with that itself, you will be able to answer. Okay. So then these are the pros and cons of going to school or doing it privately. So that's all I can tell. The decision will be in your hand. Okay. Right. Then the other one is, so far what have we covered? So I put it, if not, I might repeat the same question again. So far we have covered path, school versus private. Right. Now we are going to talk about Z score. Okay. What is Z score? This is the thing. You don't have to worry about the Z score at all. That is the fascinating thing about A level. right? You don't have to worry about the Z-score. It's just a new thing, okay? The reason why you might want to learn about Z-score is this. I'm asking you a question. There is a fellow, right? There is a fellow who got, okay, there's a person A. That person A got 280. So you have three subjects now, biology, physics, and chemistry, each out of 100. So out of 100, person A got 280. Okay. Person B got out of that same thing 280. Right. Now you tell me which one deserves to, okay, not 280. Let's go one step further. 285. Okay, I'm asking you this question. So in this case, person A, biology, physics, chemistry. Biology, he got, let's say, 80. Physics, he got 100. Chemistry, he got 100. Person B, biology, he got 100. Physics, he got 80. Chemistry, he got, okay. Sorry, 285. I meant 85. Okay, let's say like this. Out of these two, if you had to choose who is better, which one would you choose, A or B? Can you all answer me? Which one would you choose, A or B? Okay, some are saying A, some are saying B. The thing is, I haven't given you enough information to allow you to choose. Now, at first glance, it might seem like B is the better candidate. Why? He has gotten 285 total marks, while A has gotten only 280. However, what I did not tell you was, in this year, okay, let's say this is 2028. In this year, the physics paper was extremely difficult. Okay, the physics paper was extremely difficult. The average marks for the physics paper was in the country, let's say 36. Okay. But for the biology paper was very easy. Biology paper was very easy. The average marks, let's say, was 53. Okay, right. So now tell me, would you prefer a person who has gotten 100 for a very difficult paper or 100 for a relatively easy paper? Which one do you think is more deserving of that, of a university? Yes, the person who has gotten 100 for the most difficult paper. Simply put, that is what Z-score does. What Z-score does is it does not only check your aggregate. Aggregate means the total. Because this total does not give you the full picture. It checks your marks for biology and the average marks for biology. Your marks for physics, average marks for physics. Your marks for chemistry, average marks for chemistry. So if you scored very high marks on very difficult subjects, your Z-score will increase very much. Okay? If you score very high marks in easy subjects, your Z-score will increase, yes, but not to that extent we discussed previously. Okay? So, you don't need to worry much about Z-score because your job is to get more than 85 for all three subjects, whether it is easy, difficult, or normal. Right? You don't have to worry much about this Z-score. What is the purpose of this Z-score? If two people got the same marks, then they will check. Did this fellow get higher marks in the difficult subjects? Did this fellow get higher marks in the easier subject? And based on that, they will decide the rank. But to be fair, if you get this this total around 280, 285, you will surely get into Colombo Medical Faculty. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about it. So what do we do with this Z-score? So when you take your, after you finish your A levels, you will get the results. Along with the results, you will get your district rank, island rank, Z-score, right? After a few months, the universities, that means the Sri Lanka University Grants Commission, will send you all the application form where you can apply for different universities. The cutoff marks, everything is given. Cutoff marks is not technically a mark, but rather a Z score. So let's say my Z score was 2.19 something something. Okay. So how they would decide would be Colombo Medical Faculty. Colombo Medical Faculty has a Z score for the people in Colombo district. For the people in Colombo district, the ones who will go to Colombo Medical Faculty are the ones with 2.9 Z score to the highest, and the lowest would be 2.4. So like that, they will give you a cutoff for each medical faculty in each district. In that, you can see whether your Z score has come into that cutoff, and you will be able to tell which university you can go. Okay. But my recommendation is do not worry about Z score. All you have to do is, if you are now, everybody's plan is to get into Colombo Medical Faculty, no? So Colombo Medical Faculty, your island rank should be within 200. Out of the 46,000 people who do the A-level exam, your island rank should be within the 200. If your island rank is within 200, you will surely get into Colombo University. Why? Because the Colombo University's intake is around 200 people per year. So the first 200 will apply to Colombo. Some apply to Javadanapura, some apply to Peradeniya because they like the aesthetics of Peradeniya. So sometimes maybe even the 210th rank will get Colombo. Okay. So if you come within the top 200 in the island, you can choose any university in Sri Lanka. Okay. Right. So your job should be to get this within this island 200. And for that to happen, your average marks should be around 85. So to try to score 85 for physics, chemistry, and biology. The thing is, if you are from the Colombo district, there are certain people who have gotten 3 A's and still can't get into a medical faculty. The reason is, if you just get 75, 75, 75, to get into a medical faculty from Colombo district, that is not enough. Colombo, now, if you take universities will only take a set amount of students from each district. That is known as district quota. Okay, so you don't have to worry that much. You don't have to worry much about that as well. Okay, your job should be aiming for this. Don't go talking about district quota, that quota, this quota. If you are from Colombo district, your goal should be this. So back to what I was saying. In Colombo, if they take only 300 students, that means district rank first and district rank 300. Only if those 300 students can be taken, even if you're 302nd and have 3 A's, you still won't get a medical faculty. Okay, that is known as district quota. So don't just aim to get 75, 75, 75. Aim for 90, then you will land at 85. Okay, so this is the idea behind Z score. So they use complex statistical formulas and eventually figure out each person's Z score and list it. But you remove all that fluff from your head, aim for this. That is more than enough. Okay, Z score is also done. Then let me see the other questions. Okay, books. Books. Then how to study. Are there cases of students who got 3 A's did not go to university because of the Z score? I think I just explained. I asked if there are any examples. Yes, there are examples. One of my friends friends means acquaintances. He got 3 A's but did not get Colombo district because when I did my A levels, from Colombo district they only took 294 ranks. Okay, so his one was 310. There were people with 2A-Bs who were much ahead. That means their Z-score was much higher. Okay, so there are people with 3A's from Colombo district only. Any other district, if you have 3A's, you will get in. But Colombo district only, it is a bit difficult. That is why some people go out of Colombo to do the A levels. But don't do any of that. Okay, if you can put that much effort to relocate yourself, you might as well put effort and get an extra few marks. Okay. Yes. He wouldn't have gotten medicine, but he would have gotten dentistry. He would have gotten peradeniya dentistry. That is also okay. But if he actually want to do medicine, he would have to try again. But he can get other university. 3 years, you can get any university except for, now in that case, in his case, he can get any university except for medicine in Sri Lanka. He can do dentistry in peradeniya, dentistry in Jabadanapura. He can do other degrees as well. And Kandy district is also a bit competitive, but there has not been a case like that in Kandy district. Okay, it's mainly for Colombo district. So don't worry about it. Yeah, this case is only for Colombo, no other districts. Okay, only for Colombo because Colombo has so many top schools in the district, so it's very difficult. Okay, but very difficult does not mean you can't do it. Still 300 people get no. So don't worry about it. Again, I'm telling you, don't worry about it. How to plan the day to study without stress to aim more than 85%. Okay, that is this one. Okay? Managing stress. I put here. Yes. Okay, then these are the questions that you all have asked so far. Which university is good for medicine? Colombo University is good for medicine. Okay, that is the best one. Then second and third goes to Jawatanapura and Peradeniya because people who live in Colombo, they go to Jawatanapura. And if they like the looks of Peradeniya, they go to Peradeniya. Okay, so second and third is a close between Jawatanapura and Peradeniya. Quality wise, education quality wise, Jawatanapura and Peradeniya are close. Then after that, you have Kalaniya, Gaul, and so on and so forth. Okay, but the best one for people put most to Colombo University. Okay, but even saying that, there is some exam known as the final common exam that is held for medical students, right? So just like how you have this common A-level exam to choose which university each student goes to, like that, in the final year of your medical school, you have an exam to choose which hospital this person gets to work at. So it's a much more difficult exam that much more difficult exam than A levels, and in that also, Javadanapura students for the last 2 years, that means from my university, from the last 2 years, we became first. So technically, in recent times, we are the best university. But if you get a high rank, please go to Colombo. Don't come to Javadanapura because I said so. Peradeniya University is also good. Yes, Peradeniya University is also good. In Sri Lanka, all the local universities are good. Okay. But best is Colombo, then go to Japura or Peradeniya, depending on whether you're close to Japura or whether you like to look at the views in Peradeniya. And then you have Kalaniya, and then you have Gaul, Jaffna, Moratuva. There are so many universities, I think around 10. So are you doing medicine? Yes, I am a fourth year medical student in University of Sri Lanka. Okay. Okay, then I think these are the ones that require a bit more time to explain. So path done. School versus private done. Z-score done. Now we are in books. Right, books. If you take physics, chemistry, and biology, in biology you have a resource book, right? The most important thing in A-level biology is the resource book. In the resource book, from unit 1 to unit 10, you have with around 580 pages total. Okay. This resource book is considered to be the most important thing for biology. Why? Because all the exam questions, all the exam answers is taken directly from this textbook. You will not find a question outside that textbook. If you find a question outside that textbook, they will give you free marks for sure, right? That resource book is that important. The biology resource book. If you take your A-level biology resource book to the A-level exam, and whenever you see a question, you refer the book and write, you can get 100 out of 100, not 90, 100 out of 100, because the resource book is that important for biology. Okay. In the case of chemistry and physics, yes, both you have a resource book. Chemistry resource book is a bit important compared to physics, because if you have any chemical reactions, color changes in chemical reactions, the colors that are given in that chemistry textbook is the one that they will take in the exam. They will base questions on the chemistry textbook. They will give marking scheme based on the chemistry textbook. Okay. Physics also the same, but physics it's more math, no? So there is nothing to study in a textbook. However, there is a small theoretical component. So again, marking scheme based on the textbook, questions also based on what is taught in the textbook. You will never find a question outside these textbooks. So physics resource book, biology resource book, chemistry resource book, it is good to have. You don't necessarily have to buy it. You can also always use a PDF. Okay. But if you go to the education publication department where they usually give these books, you can buy it for very cheap. Like I think the biology resource book were around 500 rupees, only 500 rupees for that entire book. Okay. So if you can buy the book, buy the book. If you want to use a PDF, use the PDF. But it's always best to have this resource book for each subject with you for you to refer. Okay, because now A-level syllabus consistently changes. So recently they had a change in 2019 and then one small change in 2021 or 2022. No, 2023. They had a recent change in 2023. Okay, so these small changes are all in the resource book, are all in that textbook. So you need to follow that textbook, the current textbook, to be able to get marks. Okay. Okay. Tips to study biology stream. I will be covering that. Are there any errors in the? This is actually such a good question. Thank you for asking. Are there any errors in the resource book? Yes. In the biology resource book, there are errors. The thing is, if you write those errors in the exam, they will take it as the correct answer. Because you can't help it. You studied the resource book that the government gave you. So even if the resource book made a mistake, you write that mistake in the exam, they will give you marks. If you write the correct thing also, they will give you marks. If you write the thing that is there in the resource book also, they will give you marks. That is how closely they follow the resource book. Okay. There are actually three or four mistakes in the resource book. If you follow the exact wording in the resource book, even if it is wrong, you will get marks. Okay. So there are errors in the resource book. Does the resource book change as well? Yes, around every 5 to 6 years, the resource book changed. But the last major change came in 2019. Okay. Even if it changes, it's a small few words that change. And you currently have to use a resource book that came in 2022. So if you use that resource book, it's okay. I think they won't change it for another few years. So you have to use that resource book. Okay. Okay. So then we'll come back to this. So books are done. How to study for first sight? Right. This is the $1,000,000 question. everybody has when doing A-level biology. Okay. Give me one second. We can get the resource book from school. I think certain schools give the resource book free of charge. Certain you have to buy from the government itself. I'm not very sure about that. Right. How to study for the A-level exam if you're starting right now, the 2028 A-level batch now. So how many years do you have? Like I said previously, you have 2.5. If you want to even have a chance of getting into medicine, you need to study 17 hours a day with only 2 hours of sleep, is what you would have probably thought, right? That is completely bull or complete lies. If you start from now, okay, so I don't think many classes would have started by now, maybe next week, right? If you started from next week, I promise you, if you study 3 or maybe 2 to 3 hours every day, not 2 to 3 hours whenever you feel like it, in addition to classes don't count as study time. Okay. If you study 2 to 3 hours of smart studying every day until your A-level exam, if your A-level exam is tomorrow, you can still study 2 to 3 hours a day and go. You can watch a movie, you can go out with friends. But for that to happen, you need to have studied 2 to 3 hours from the first day. That is how simple A-levels are. The reason is many of us, okay, we think A-levels like a sprint, but it is not a sprint. It is a marathon. There is no point of going slowly and running really fast at the last moment. You will burn out. There's no point of running really fast in the beginning. You will burn out. A marathon is supposed to be done at a slow and steady pace. Slow and steady pace is 2 to 3 hours of work every day. That is more than enough for all 3 subjects. That is not 2 hours per subject. 2 to 3 hours, you can cover all 3 subjects if you start from the first day. That is how simple A-level biology is. But the difficult part here is people don't do this every day. What do? They just go to class. Okay. Once they come back from class, they just, chill. That's what most people do. I have so many years left for my A-level exam. Then slowly, you will finish your first term. Then suddenly your teachers are having first term examinations. Then you're cramming. Then second term, third term. Eventually, the content will be too much. You will be too stressed. And by the time you're in final year, you will have to study close to 7, 8 hours. If you did not study, near your final year, you will study 7, 8. Some people go to 12, 13. Why? Because they did not study in the first year. Okay. This first year, this first day, from the first day onwards, if you do these 2 to 3 hours of smart work, you will be easily able to get 3 A's with a top island ranking. Right. So now 2 to 3 hours of work is what I said. How do you do that 2 to 3 hours of work? Let's say Monday. Today is a Monday, no? Right. Let's imagine that I did a biology session today. Okay, what did I teach? I taught introduction to biology. All right. Your job would have been yesterday. Take 20 minutes of your time to read that introduction to biology lesson. Okay. Try to understand it without anybody's help. Read 15 to 20 minutes, the introduction to biology. If you feel like you have a question, search in Google. What does this word mean? Search in Google. What does that mean? Search in Google. Self-study. For 15 to 20 minutes, it's okay. Then today you come, you're not completely clueless. You have some idea about this introduction to biology. Then I am teaching you introduction to biology. Okay, so this is how biology, this is what biology is, that. Then I completely finished the introduction to biology. Once I'm done with the introduction to biology, let's say this was a 2.5, 3 hours class. Once the class is over, you take a small break, and then after that, you study what was taught in that class right then and there. Again, introduction to biology. I wouldn't have been able to complete 10 pages a day, no, maybe 5. So that 5 pages you study it again. So now this is going to be the third time that you're reviewing that topic. Then it won't take you that long, maybe maximum 45 minutes, right? Once you do now 15 minutes on Sunday, 15 minutes on Sunday, then you are in a class. And then again, so 15 minutes, you're not going to go into deep studying, you're just going to reading. The deep learning and understanding comes from a class. And then 45 minutes, you review it again. Okay, what did I say? What did you understand? And try to see whether you can create a connection. Okay. Then after that, within that 45 minutes itself, you need to be able to do questions. Try to search for questions on that specific topic. You will have classified papers. So each unit will have set of questions. You try those set of questions. Or if you can't find any questions, the best way to study would be for you to pretend as if you are a teacher. You close the book and then you do the class on Introduction to Biology to an imaginary crowd. Only if you have understood and learned the content properly will you be able to do that. So all of this will take a maximum of 45 minutes after class. Okay, maybe 1 hour, let's say. One. So you have completely finished your biology work in 1 hour. That's all. Then if you had a physics class, then physics, obviously, they would have done, I think, first lesson is units and dimension. So they can't do much on them. So again, same technique. Before you go to the class, read on units and dimension. Listen to the class, listen in the class attentively. After the class, you again review what you learned, and then you try to pretend to teach as if you are conducting a class, or you go and practice some questions. So all of this is known as active learning. That is the problem most of these students make. They don't know how to learn active. What they do is passive learn. So you would probably relate to this, even me before, right? So I open the book, I read, I read, I read. Okay. Then I go to the next page. I read, then this side. But if you ask me a question, I will not be able to answer. If you ask me to teach, I will not be able to teach. Why? Reading is very easy. It's an easy thing to do. But actively learning, you are putting effort to put that information into your head. So you are reading the first paragraph, you're closing the book. Okay, what did the first paragraph say? Okay, how does this relate to the information I already know? So in O levels, I learned that the sucrose is for this phloem sap. Here they are talking about sucrose this way. They are talking about glucose this way. Okay. Like that, you relate the information and then again you open the book and read. That is known as active learning. If you are able to tell or if you are able to teach without looking at the book, that means you have learned it properly. Okay. That is the first most important thing. However, there is another even more important step in learning. That is known as spaced repetition or retrieval. So, if you take the, let's say, digestive system in O levels, okay, you would have studied the digestive system. You would have learned it properly. However, after 1 week, you can't remember. After 2 weeks, you forgot it completely. But by the time you learned it, or the first time you learned it, you understood every single thing. You thought it was very easy. But why did you forget it then 2 weeks later? That is because humans' brain tend to forget. There is a graph like this. Okay. So this is the graph. Let's say this is retention. That means how much you remember. Okay. Retention. This is time. On the first day that you study, you will have 100% retention. Okay, that is, let's say, day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. On the first day you study, you will have 100% retention. But as time passes, what do you think happens? The amount that you retain goes very, very low. like this. So look at the amount of retention you have on the first day. That means today you learned it, you had 100%. Tomorrow you only remember 40%. Why? Even though you understood it properly, that is because your brain forgets. Your brain forgets. So on the second day, you will expect to forget your 60% of what you know. Then what should you do? On that second day, you need to review that content again. Once you review that content, it will again go back to 100%. Please keep in mind, reviewing does not mean reading. You have to forget about reading hereafter. You can't just read and learn unless you know you have photographic memory. Unfortunately, nobody has photographic memory. I also want photographic memory. Okay. So just reading is not enough. The time that you're reviewing, the first time that you review it, that is tomorrow, you, without looking at the book, try to teach whatever you remember. Try to say, okay, now you learned introduction to biology, no? So again, tomorrow you're teaching them, okay, so this is introduction to biology, guys. These are the different concepts, these are the different stuff that this, and you have to complete it. Once you open the book after that, you will see the things that you have missed. Then you ask yourself, why did I miss that? Okay, this is the reason I missed it. I did not understand this properly. There are 5 things, I have only said 4 things. So likewise, when you're reviewing it, you're opening the book, and then you're seeing where you went from. If you do that, again, your knowledge will go to 100%. Okay, right. Now, the magic thing about reviewing is you all know gradient, right? You all would have learned gradient in O-level maths. This gradient is very sharp. That means the first time you learn something, you will forget it very quick. But the second time you learn something, the gradient becomes a little less steeper. Little less steeper. Right? So here you forgot it quickly. Here you're taking a bit of a time to forget it. So here by the first day, right? That means 1 day later, you have forgotten 60%. But now only 2 days later, are you forgetting 60%? So what can you understand from this? The more you review, the flatter this curve will get. Okay. So keep in mind, don't review every day, because if you review every day, you will, no, if you review the same topic every day, you will not have time to study anything. Okay. You have to review it only when you feel like you're going to forget it. Then you will put more effort to try to remember, and then you will remember. In learning, the more effort that you put into learning, the better it will stick. Please keep that in mind. Reading sounds very easy. Reading the first paragraph, closing the book, pretending to explain to someone, that sounds difficult. The difficult one is what will make you stick. That means that content will stick in your head. Okay. So by the time again, 3 days later, it will again go down. Then you need to do the third review. Then you need to do the third. Same technique. Without looking at the book, first you try teaching it. Opening the book, seeing where you went wrong, and then correcting your mistakes. Then this time, the curve will be little less steeper than previously. Right? So it will eventually go. So then you have to do it 7 days later. Maybe let's just say 7 days later. Like that, you have to keep reviewing. So the best method that I have learned for myself, for my learning would be, or how I did it in A-levels, is day 0. That is the day I learned the subject. Day 1, the next day. Then day 3. That means the day after. Here, if this is the 0 day, first day, day 3. And then I study day 7. Then day 14. Then day 25. Then 1 month later. Then 2 months later. Then every 2 months I learn it. So in that case, eventually, if you keep doing the reviews, eventually the amount that you forget will become almost 10%, less than 10%, maybe even 5%. So you will remember more than 95% of the content if you review it properly. Okay. So this is the most important thing. 3-step process. I told you, what are the 3 steps? Understanding. So how did you do the understanding? Before class, you read through the thing. During class, you paid close attention to learn it. After class, you studied it again. That is the understanding part. Second part, actively recalling. Active recall. This is where you close the book and try to explain it to someone in your own language, in simple words. Okay, that is the active recall part. Then third one, spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is this part that I was explaining, how you need to review again and again, right? So if you follow this method, I am telling you, you will easily get more than 90 for biology, more than 9 for biology, right? For physics and chemistry, there is a small change that needs to be made. But for biology, if you follow this method, you will get more than 90 for sure. And how much work did you put? Only 1 hour per day for biology. Okay, but that is only because you started from day 1. But if you start from day 400, then you might have to study 5 to 6 hours of biology every day. Okay, then once in a while in your class or in your school, or you take a question paper and try and see, you will surely be able to answer the questions. Because if you're able to teach something to someone, you can only do it properly if you have understood the content. Okay, right. So then biology is done. Then let's talk about physics and chemistry. Physics and chemistry, small changes, but this is the underlying principle. This is the principle of learning by multiple researchers for many decades. This is what they have come as a conclusion to learn best. It is this understanding it properly, actively recalling it, spaced repetition. This is the most important way for learning anything, any skill in the world. This is how you learn. Okay. So for physics and chemistry, understanding is a bit more difficult. So what do you need to do? You need to watch videos. You need to see, okay, how is this practically applied? How does this occur practically? You need to see the color changes. For biology also, you can see videos, but I'm just trying to be a bit more personalized for physics and chemistry, okay? For physics, you need to visualize it. You need to see, okay, what is friction? How are the forces acting? If you go to a good teacher for physics and chemistry, your life is sorted, right? I went to a good teacher for physics. So I understood everything he taught. So it was perfect for me. This understanding part is very, very important for physics and chemistry. At least for biology, some people, they say, katapadam karna. I mean, they just memorize everything and go. But you can't do that for physics and chemistry because they don't ask you what is there in the resource book directly. They use the concept in the resource book, twist and undercut and everything and ask you the question. But you can't answer it properly if you do not understand. Okay. So this understanding process is very, very important. Do not be afraid to ask doubts from your teachers. Not a single teacher will tell you, oh, that's a stupid question. Oh, don't ask me that question. Nobody will say that. They will explain things multiple times. So if you go to a physical class, make sure if you have any doubts, stop the teacher before he leaves, asks the question, and then allow him to go. You're paying for his service, use the service maximum. School also say, if the government is paying for them to teach you, you take the maximum benefit. Ask questions. If you have any doubts, please ask. Don't carry it forward to the next day. So first lesson they would teach is units and dimension in physics and general chemistry in chemistry. It's a bit concept heavy, the first part. If you don't understand, stop them and ask, what is this? What is length? What is time? What is candela? What is light intensity? Ask as many questions as you can to get a complete understanding of that topic. Okay. Now, this is where it is different in physics and chemistry. The active recall part. In biology, what did I tell you? You need to close the book and try to explain it to somebody else. That is because biology is a concept heavy, theory heavy topic. But physics, chemistry is an application heavy topic. So this understanding part, you will learn the concept. In active recall is when you will apply it in questions. If you remember in biology, I did not ask you to do questions in the beginning as much. I told you to first close the book and try to explain. But physics and chemistry, you must do questions. Okay. You must. Without doing questions, you can't. You can't get through physics and chemistry if you just learn the theory and in the exam go and do the questions. You will not be able to pass. You might understand what is distance, what is displacement, what is velocity, what is speed. But if they give you a question, oh, an object is moving this way to the left, 5 meters to the right, acceleration is this, gravity is that, then you will have to apply all of them together. That is the most important part in physics and chemistry. Okay, so how would you do that? By getting past papers. So for physics, your first lesson will be units and dimensions. In every past paper, the first question is based on units and dimensions. So when I did my A levels, I did past papers from 1990 to 2020. So 1990 to 2000, I only did the MCQs. I couldn't find the part 2. Then from 2000 to 2020, I did full papers for physics. Okay. And then 2000 to 2020, I actually did it multiple times. No, I just did it because there were model papers, but I don't recommend doing model papers because they put very difficult questions and I am not a very smart person. I just really worked hard. So I did the same past papers multiple times. Okay. Chemistry, I did from 2000 to 2010, 2020. Okay, I didn't do from 1990 because the syllabus had changed a lot. So do past papers. If you study units and dimension, do all units and dimension questions. You must have a classified book for physics and chemistry. Biology, you don't need even, but for physics and chemistry, you must have a classified book. If you study units and dimension, do all the questions on units and dimension. If you study motion in a straight line, do all the questions in the motion in a straight line. Do the homework questions, do the past paper questions. This will take you another 1 hour maximum. Because unlike biology, they can't finish 5 pages a day. They will teach you 1-2 concepts a day. So all the questions relevant to that concept, you must complete. So you don't have to complete everything on one day, no, because you will have a physics class once a week. Okay. So today, if you learn something, do a set of questions on Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then again next class. Okay. So that is how you do these questions. You do as many questions as possible. Do their homework questions. So if you go to a class, they will give you tube questions. No, do the tube questions. After that, do the past paper questions. And then you will see the benefit. Okay. Spaced repetition. Now, this is a tricky topic in physics and chemistry because you don't forget physics and chemistry like you will forget biology. Because in biology, if there is an essay that requires 38 points, you need to remember all 38 points and the specific keywords. But in physics and chemistry, you don't have to remember the specific words. You have to remember the concept. Equations also no need to memorize because if you understood it properly, you can derive those equations. So physics and chemistry, not much needed to memorize. However, I still recommend that you do a spaced repetition. How? Let's say your class is doing a specific section in unit 2. Let's say unit 2 subtopic A. So by the time they finish subtopic A, you complete all the questions in subtopic A. Then they will do subtopic B. Then you do all the questions in subtopic B and then try some questions from subtopic A. So even if you do these topics once a month, so if you do all the questions maybe once a month, even that is enough. It doesn't have to be the same questions even. You can then do, if you want, you can do model papers. Okay, but if you keep doing questions, that is more than enough. For physics and chemistry, you just have to do questions, nothing more. Okay, so if you do it that way, you will be able to get high marks for physics and chemistry as well. So that maximum 1 hour a day. 1 hour, 30 minutes, let's say, for physics and chemistry. So totally 2 hours, 30 minutes. Because you don't have to do all the questions on one day. Space it out over 7 days because you only have a class once every week, no? So space it out over 7 days, 2 hours, 30 minutes per day, more than enough. You keep doing this. Now, you know maths, no? If you have 1,000 days for an exam, if you study only, let's say, 1 hour a day for 1,000 days, you would have studied total of 1,000 hours. Okay, but you started studying only in the last 100 days. So then if you want to get this 1,000 hours, you need to study 10 hours a day. So you see, if you start earlier, you can study lesser. That is the important part. Start early. Right. So 2 hours, 30 minutes a day. That would be more than enough. And one more thing, please do not pack up your days with classes. Choose a good class for each if you need class even. Now, biology, I did not go to a class. I learned biology using Google and the resource book. If you also can do the same thing, please do it. Don't go for a biology class. Why then in the biology class, that 3 hours, now the teacher would explain it in such a way, such that the slowest student and the smartest student will understand. So if the smartest student can understand it in 1 hour and the slowest student will understand it in 3 hours, the teacher will take 3 hours to teach. But if you realize, okay, I know this, I can use Google, I can use AI. Now there's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Notebook LM, so many different AIs are there. So you can use this and learn easily. Okay, so if you feel like you can learn the concept easily just by watching videos on YouTube, by reading on AI, listening to the explanations in the AI, then don't go to a biology class. Then you will save an additional 3 hours a week or 2 hours a week because you need 1 hour to study that. Okay, do whatever you want in that time. Physics and chemistry, I don't think anybody can learn it by without going to class, because if you can learn physics and chemistry without going to class, then you're a better man than I am or better woman than I am. Okay, right. So keep that in mind. Do not pack up your week with classes. You need self-study time. Even if you don't go to class, it's okay, but this is very important. You need to study this 2 hours, 30 minutes. Because keep in mind, if you keep delaying it for tomorrow, the present you will be okay with it, but the tomorrow you will blame the yesterday you. Why? Because you keep putting it on for tomorrow. Okay, right? Because if you put off something, you eventually have to do it now, because nobody else is going to come and do it for you. So please do this 2 hours and 30 minutes every day. So this is how you study. Okay. Nice. That was a long session. Did you all understand? When we teach it, won't it be a time waste? Channels where we can learn chemistry and physics basic. YouTube channels, I think, like I said, I used Khan Academy, Organic Chemistry Tutor. Those are the ones I used if I'm watching a video, but I just went to the class and learned it. Okay, should we practice past papers lesson by lesson or after completing the syllabus? No, don't wait until after completing the syllabus. By the time you complete the syllabus, it will be March or May even. You have only 2 months. You can't do the past papers in 2 months. You will feel very stressed. As not even, don't even wait lesson by lesson. Don't wait unit by unit even. Concept by concept. If you finished linear motion, do linear motion question. So unit 2, subtopic A. Under subtopic A, you have subtopic A. So do each question by question even. Don't wait until you finish a unit even. Don't wait and surely don't wait until you finish the syllabus. More, not enough time. Then where can we buy classified past papers? You can buy it in any bookshop, but the most famous classified past papers is Pesuru, right? Pesuru. You can one. Can we get the resource books online? Yes, you can get the resource book online. You can download the PDF online. So is it enough to start studying after Ramadan? More than enough. Okay, you can start studying after Ramadan, no problem. Can I get the recording after the session? Yes, you can get the recording. I'm actually recording the session. Should we do past papers from the beginning? Yes. Don't wait. Again, like I said, don't wait till the lesson is complete. Don't wait till the unit is complete. Even the subtopic, if it's complete, you do the questions. Okay. When I starting the class online, okay, my class details, I will put it at the end. Okay. This is mainly for whether you're coming to my class or not, you're going to get the guide on how to complete the A levels. So whether you come to the class or not, whether you go to anybody else, it doesn't matter. You have to follow this template. Okay. Any information regarding my class, I will give near the end of the session. What if one got W in science O levels? That's unfortunate. You will have to pass O levels. You don't need an A. If you pass O levels, you can do A level biology. You don't have to wait to get an A for 9 A's, 8 A's, nothing. My O level results is just 6 A's. Okay. Where can we buy classified past papers? I answered that. Any bookshop, you can buy classified. Any bookshop, you can buy classified past papers. Search for Pesuru. And there are so many online links also. You can download the PDF. Resource book is bought from Education Publication Department. They have multiple bookshops. I think there was one in Batharamulla. You can go and buy, but usually they run out of stock because everybody goes and buys it. No? So sometimes you might have to print out the book as well. So if you have to retake the exam, yes, S is also enough. But the thing is, some schools don't accept you if you had an S4 O-level exam. But according to the university handbook, they did not have any requirement for medicine. But the thing is, usually they expect that if you're going to get 3 A's for A levels, you must have at least gotten a S for O levels, no? Or A for O levels. No? That's what they think. But there are people who have gotten B's and C's for O level science and still got 3 A's. Okay. It's very rare, but has happened. How many hours do you think one should study to aim at 3? I just told 2 hours, 30 minutes every day. If you're starting from the beginning, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours, more than enough every day. Okay. So imagine you have 24 hours. Okay. 24 hours, 3 hours gone means 21 hours. 10 hours to sleep, even 11 hours, you can do whatever you want. Right? Extracurricular or clubs and societies, anything you can do. The lesson is, how do you see in past paper? Usually in Pesuru, they have classified it by topic and subtopic. This one, okay? They have classified it by topic and subtopic. As soon as you complete the subtopic, you can do it. But in addition to the past papers, if you go to a teacher, he will give you cute questions. No? So after he teaches a concept, he must give you some questions to do. Do those questions. I'm also a student. I was also a student. I was also a slacking off student, a procrastinating student. I did not do those questions. But eventually I paid the price because at the last moment only I studied everything. The last 1 year only, I can't study 2 hours and 30 minutes in the last 1 year. I had to study 10 to 12 hours on average. So just do those questions, homework questions from your teachers, past paper questions in addition, but do questions. Do not just go to the class, listen, talk with friends and come back home. That is not the reason for going to A-level classes. Okay. When you're doing your work, think of A-level like a job. Okay. Think of A-level like a part-time job. 2 hours, 30 minutes every day you have to give for that part-time job. You need to make sure that you're doing that part-time job correctly. And what is the final outcome? You will get 100 million at the end of 2.5 years. Why do you say 100 million? Because that is the cost of medical education in Sri Lanka. They charge around $10,000 per student for a foreign student for 5 years. So that is around 100 million. Okay. So 100 million. Your time is worth 100 million. So please use it wisely. Then, okay. So I can give you all the latest edition of the biology resource book. If you can send a message, however you got this link, use that same group or channel or whatever and send me a message. I will give you the latest edition of the resource book. How far does university consider extracurricular activities? Zero. They do not care about extracurricular activities. Our university is like that. Sri Lanka is a merit-based system. If you get marks, enough. That's all they need. That's not right, but that's all they need. Okay. Extracurriculars does not matter for university entrance. Okay, please pay attention to what I'm saying. Does not matter for university entrance, but extracurricular matters for you as a person. To grow as a person, you need extracurricular. So just being a bookworm is not enough. All work and no play makes John or Jack a dull boy or something like that. No. So please do extracurricular activities, because if not, your life will be very boring. Is it okay to watch movies occasionally during our free time? Please don't watch it occasionally. I'm telling you, no, this is a very serious subject matter. Watch it daily. 2 hours and 30 minutes. How many hours you have remaining? You can be a movie critic. If you study from the first day, you can be a movie critic even. Watch a movie every day, study every day. Nobody's going to say anything. Okay. What's the Z score to enter public uni? In Colombo district, if you are from Colombo district, I think I'm not very sure. You have to check the university cutoff. It changes every year. But in my year, I think that is 2021. I think it was 1.88 or something like that. Okay, that was the cutoff. And cutoff again varies from university to university, district by district. And again, I'm telling you, cutoff, Z score, those are bluffs. Those are outside noise. Your job, 85 for each subject. Don't worry about anything else. You will get whatever you want if you get 85 for each subject. Then, so I was said by some teachers that national level certificates will be taken into consideration for uni entrance. Ah, you're talking about that. National certification, yes, will be helpful. That is not school-wise extracurricular activities. If you play for Sri Lanka, if you represent Sri Lanka at one stage, I think they will add a 0.1 Z score. So again, if you got a Z score of 2.2, let's say, they will not add 0.1 to make it 2.3 and give you a higher rank. No. But let's say to get into a university, you need a 2.0 Z score. If your Z score was 1.9, then they will add that 0.1 to make it 2. Okay, that is how it works. They don't just add Z score like that. What is the best way to make study notes? Don't make notes. You have the resource book. Whatever questions that you have, annotate. That means mark it on the resource book itself, the explanation. Don't go and rewrite notes based on the resource book because the resource book is your note. Okay. Then, yes, sir, all clear. All right. Can you recommend physics and chemistry teacher for online class? All the recommendations, please come. It'll come at the end of the class. Okay. Yeah. If it's is it not true? If we choose bio, we'll get stressed and not get to go somewhere else. So that was all a lie. Absolutely. It's all a lie. Why? People who did not, okay, this is a bit harsh to say, people who did bio and did not get into medicine or whatever dentistry or whatever stream they like, so they can't tell, no, it was easy, but I didn't work hard. It's difficult to say that. But bio is very difficult. Please don't do it. I also tried. I worked hard every day like a mad cow. Still, I couldn't get in. So if they say that, they will make themselves feel better. Biology is not difficult. If you start from first day, if you start from day one, it is not difficult. Okay. Right. When we make mistakes in chemistry and physics questions, is it necessary to feel worried? My first term marks for physics was 35 and chemistry I think was 40 or something like that. So I have made 60% of papers, but I got 3 A's with my Z score is, even though I got Jawaharlal University, my Z score was pretty high. It's around 2.19, right? I was able to get better than you also. So if a person like me, who was almost at the bottom, was capable to get this Z score, then you have to make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more things that you learn. Because if you ever had an embarrassment in public, you will always remember that, right? If you had a cringe moment in your life, you will always remember the cringe moment. If you made a mistake, you will always remember the mistake. So if you remember the mistake, if you correct it, you will also remember the correction. Okay, so make mistakes. Please make mistakes. That is now, life is all about making mistakes now, and you correct those mistakes. That's all. Whether it is in biology or whether it is life in general. Okay, don't worry about making mistakes. If you don't correct those mistakes, then you have to worry about it. But if you correct it, no need to worry. If I get best result for O level and if you choose a school, if you want to go to a school, choose a school. Choose a good school. Either you don't have to go to another district or anything like that. Do from the district that you are born in or that you went to school in, right? This district wise cut-off marks, Z score, quota, hard, this, that, all of them are excuses given by people who couldn't do it, right? If you do it like this, you will be able to do it even if you're in the Jaffna district or the Hambantota. Hambantota district, no? Is Hambantota district? Okay, southern province. Okay, right. Suggestion for classes, again, I will keep that to the end. During the first 3 months, should I focus only on A level or other courses as well? If your plan is to become a medical student, you don't have to do other courses. Just focus on A levels and enjoy life. Do this and enjoy life. Okay. I don't recommend doing any courses, but if you have, there are people who have done, but if you feel like you are capable of balancing everything, then please do. Okay, I think I have answered. Okay, there's one more. Which is easy for a bilingual student doing A level in Tamil medium or English medium. Do it in the language that you are familiar with. That is, if you did O levels in English medium, do A levels in English medium. If you did O levels in Tamil medium, do A levels in Tamil medium. Doesn't matter, right? But keep in mind, in university, everything is done in English medium. Okay, some people find it difficult, that transition, but don't worry about it. Everybody eventually transitions, whether you did it in Tamil, Sinhala, or English, you will be able to do university well. You just have to work hard. So there are people who are Tamil medium, there are people who are Sinhala medium. Eventually, they learn English medium in university. Okay, so university is done in English medium. So based on that, if you want, you can make a decision. But I recommend do it in the language that you are capable of getting marks in. University and all can come later. First, you need to get through these A levels. No? So do it in the language you are familiar with. Okay, that is the rapid fire question session. I think I still have something to cover. I see. So how to study? Time management also covered. Stress management. Stress management also I partially covered. Asking you all to watch movies every day. So if movies is the way that you manage stress, okay, no problem. If anime is the way that you manage stress, okay, no problem. If you go out, no problem. If you sleep, also no problem. Okay. However, keep in mind, always surround yourself with good company. So if your friends, they are like, okay, Ade, let's just have fun today. Okay, no problem. Go have fun. But don't miss. You have a part-time job you need to go to. What is that? 2 hours and 30 minutes of work every day, right? As long as you do that, you can do whatever you want. Okay. But always surround yourself in good company. Have healthy competition because you know A level is a competitive exam, but that doesn't mean just because your friend is getting a higher mark than you have to go and push him onto a bus or something. Because there are multiple people in Sri Lanka, more than 45,000 do it. You pushing one fellow away, another fellow will take his spot. Okay, so have healthy competition. Compete against each other to see who can get higher marks. Okay, but after all, at the end, just focus on yourself. Make sure that you are better than the person you were yesterday, and day after tomorrow, you are better than the person you were tomorrow. Okay. Can you give tips to overcome fear of asking doubts? If you're going to a physical class, usually they send cheats, right? If you're going to online class, you are asking doubts. So technically your question is asking doubts. So you got that covered, right? But if you are talking about going to a teacher and stopping him, just keep in mind that is what he's supposed to do. A teacher is supposed to do that. The teacher is supposed to clear your doubts. That is his job. A student is supposed to learn. That is your job. So you are just doing your job. Go and ask the teacher the question. That's all. He will not tell you it's a stupid question. If he does tell you it's a stupid question, you are going to a wrong teacher. Okay. If I start 1 month, if I start after 1 month, is it enough for what? Yeah, no problem. So most people are waiting until Ramadan is finished to start studying. You also can do the same. But my recommendation is, start from the first class itself. Okay, then I think I have covered all the questions. Not bad. What is the time? Yeah, within 1 hour and 20 minutes. Time waste by teaching. Thank you for reminding. Time waste by teaching. Okay. So one person has asked, sir, what about teaching? I told them when you're actively recalling biology, you close the book and then you explain as if you're explaining to a small child. The thing is, teaching does not mean teaching like this. Okay, let me take an example. Right. Let's say photosynthesis. Okay, if I am to explain, now I am an actual teacher now, if I am to explain photosynthesis to a student, I will have to draw the diagram. I will have to draw the membranes. I will have to draw the proteins. I will have to draw the molecules. And then I have to like dumb it down. That means like make it as simple as possible. Okay, sunlight is coming. The pigments are getting excited. Water is getting converted. ATP is being formed. NADPH is being formed. If you do it like that, yes, it would take time because that's why the class takes 3 hours. No? But that is not what I am asking you to do. What I am asking you to do is close the book. Try to recall what you know by pretending to teach someone. So you don't have to go into this much detail. Okay, there is something known as a thylakoid. In that thylakoid, there is a photosystem. In that photosystem, it is excited by sunlight. That will eventually cause the transfer of electrons, which will generate NADPH, which will generate ATP. That ATP is used for this. This NADPH is used for that. That water is converted to this. This is converted to that. That is how you teach. Obviously, nobody will understand when you teach it like that. But you know the content. Okay, now, while teaching, if you realize, okay, how is the water converting into oxygen? Then you go and refer. Understood? So when I'm asking you to teach, does not mean go into that much detail. It is just a way of remembering or trying to retrieve what you learned. Because if not, if you just open the book or close the book and close your eyes, eventually you'll have to close your eyes because you will feel sleepy. But whatever you learn, you have to be active. Then only you will be able to study for a bit longer without getting distracted. That is why I recommend this method. Any other method is okay. If you want, you can close your book and just close your eyes and recall. That's how I did it. But I recommending this for most students because if not, you will feel sleepy. Okay. There are other ways people do active recall also. They start writing. I don't recommend writing because I feel like writing is a waste of time. But some people can only learn if they write. So you write and learn. All of these are suggestions, okay? None of this is compulsion, except that three-step process. That three-step process, if you don't use that three-step process in some manner, you can't do this. You can't learn anything, right? The way of doing that three-step process, that means how I told you, okay, this is how I would have done it. That can change from person to person. So if you want, you can teach. If you want, you can write. Whichever that is beneficial for you, whichever you are comfortable with, you have to do it. But you have to actively retrieve it and then you have to space it out and keep reviewing it. If you follow that, you are okay. Okay. Did I answer your question? All right. Then, okay then. Now regarding the recommendation for classes, if you want, you can leave now. Okay. But for the ones who asked, uh, I went physics for Irendra sir. Okay. Chemistry, I just went here and there. When there's a Chamudita sir, I went for a small period of time. Then there's a sir called Sudhara sir. I went to him for a small period of time. Biology, I learned by myself. In the beginning, though, I went, I think, for a few, I think 1 or 2 months, I went to Mano Kalupahana. Then 1 or 2 months, I went to Charita Munasinghe. Then eventually, when Corona came, I couldn't focus on biology in online class because I didn't feel like it was very engaging for me. Then what I did was I just opened the resource book and typed in Google whatever I wanted, typed in YouTube whatever I wanted, looked at animations. So people in other countries also learn similar content. No? So I looked at those animations and I understood. Okay. So regarding my biology classes, an only online session, that means only for online students. It is on Friday. What is it? 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That is this Friday. When is this Friday? March 6th is online. right? Then you can contact my number is for further information. Zero 363 498. And yes, I know it is Ramadan. Don't worry, I'm also fasting. So we will be taking a small break during this time and continuing it till 8 p.m. Okay. Like I'm also a university student. So that is why I now this teaching is something that I do out of passion, right? But I am not going to completely stop my education for teaching. I want to balance both and I want to be good in both. So that is the reason I took this time so that I can go to university, I can go to my tutorials and practicals, study my university content, prepare for class, do this, and if needed, I can go to hospital after that also. So that is the reason I chose this time. Unfortunately, we had to start during Ramadan, but during that time, I will give a break at least for 20 minutes. Okay. Or if you want, you can join the class after Ramadan also. All the recordings will be available for anybody who wants to join. And then physical is on Saturday, which is March 7th, 11 to 2:30 p.m. Okay. So this is at Sateha College. Good. So for any inquiries, you can send for this number regarding physical online class. So this is regarding the biology. For physics and chemistry, like I told you, I went to those respective sirs. Yes, iftar break will be given. Yes, I told on this day, the iftar break will be given. Okay. Then that is it regarding my classes. So if you have any other questions, you can ask. If not, then we can conclude this session. Okay, no? So the price details for this online is also 3,500. Physical is also 3,500. So you will be getting, if you are online or physical, you will be getting colored printed tubes. Okay, so that costs a lot. But it's going to be free of charge from your side. Technically not free of charge because you are paying 3,500. Then unlimited recording access from day one. So even if you are doing the 6th unit, you will still have access to unit 1 to unit 6. Right. Any other questions? Thank you, sir. It's a good explanation. You understood everything about the stream. Yes, I'm glad I could help. Please apply this concepts for any type of learning that you want to do in future, and I wish you the best of luck. And then first class is free. Yes, both. First class is free for both. You can come and join and see. Do we have to spend a lot of money if I choose bio? Technically, all the classes are at this price. So 3,500, 3,500, 3,500. That's 9,000, 10,500. No, 10,500 for per month if you're going to all three classes. And if you're somebody who does not need biology classes, you can learn it on your own, then you can subtract 3,500 from this. Then there are some people who don't go for classes, their school is enough, then technically you don't have to pay any of this, right? And then if you're actually in proper financial difficulty, you can always contact me and I give certain students free of charge their entire A levels, but they have to maintain a set of standard. They need to do their homework. They need to do the work that I tell them to do. If they are attentive, if they are doing the work I'm giving, then for students who are in financial difficulty, I give free of charge. Okay. Thank you, sir, for it. Okay, no problem. So then that is it then. I hope you all take this information and get the best use out of it. and I wish you the best of luck. See you soon.